Ready to explore Europe in 2025. I know I am. But hold on. Before you book that dream trip, we need to talk about some pretty big changes.
Big changes.
Huge. We're talking digital borders, expanding travel zones, even tourist taxes are getting a makeover.
Oh, wow. Europe's really switching things up, huh?
Absolutely. And that's what this deep dive is all about. We're going to break down all the essential updates you need to know to make your 2025 travels smooth sailing.
Sounds good to me. Where are we starting?
Well, we have this fantastic resource, European Travel in 2025, essential new rules and updates you need to know. It's got all the details.
I think what's really fascinating here is that Europe's going through its biggest travel transformation in decades.
It really is. And it all starts with, well, how you get in.
Ah, right, borders.
Exactly. So picture this. You're at the airport, you're super excited for your European adventure, but instead of those long passport control lines, you just breeze through.
Okay, that sounds pretty good, but how's that going to work?
It's all thanks to these new digital border systems coming in 2025, the EE and ETIAS. Have you heard of those?
I've heard the names, but tell me more.
Okay, so the EES, that stands for the Entry-Exit System. It's basically replacing those old passport stamps with, get this, biometric scans.
Whoa, biometric scans, like in those sci-fi movies.
Kind of. Think like automated kiosks that scan your face and match it to your passport.
That sounds pretty high-tech.
It is. And efficient. Plus, it's going to make it a lot harder to overstay visas. Your entries and exits are tracked digitally. No more stamp shenanigans.
Makes sense. Okay, and what about the ETIAS? That sounds a bit familiar, like the ETIA thing we use for the U.S.
You're right on the money. ETIAS is kind of like Europe's version of a visa waiver program.
Gotcha. So if you're coming from, say, the U.S., Canada, Australia.
Exactly. Visa-exempt countries. You'll need to apply for an ETIAS authorization before you head to Europe.
Okay, how much is this going to cost me?
It's only €7. Not bad, right? And it's valid for 3 whole years.
Oh, that's a good deal. And the application process?
All online. Should only take about 10 minutes.
Easy peasy. So can I basically apply the night before my flight and be good to go?
Probably best not to risk it.
Why not?
Well, most applications are quick, but some might need more time, like up to 96 hours, so at least a week before your trip is a good rule of thumb.
Just to be safe. Good advice.
It's better to be prepared than stressed at the airport. And you know what? It's not just Europe doing this. Lots of countries are moving to pre-travel authorization systems.
Makes sense. Global trend.
Yep, everyone wants smarter borders these days.
Okay, I'm getting the pictures. Now, what about the UK? Are they going all digital too?
Oh, yeah, for sure. They're rolling out their own version starting January 8th, 2025.
Okay, so even if I want to pop over to London for a quick weekend, I'll need...
An ETA, yep, electronic travel authorization.
Right, ETA.
It's £10, and you can use it for multiple entries over 2 years. You can stay for up to 6 months each time.
Not too bad. And is this just for us Americans, or...?
Actually, even EU citizens are going to need one, but just starting in April 2025, so a few months later.
That's a big change.
It is. It applies to everyone except, obviously, British and Irish citizens, and anyone with an existing UK visa. It's like post-Brexit, the UK is really changing up its border control.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so digital borders are a big theme. Any other major changes on the horizon?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay, spill the tea.
Well, remember how we talked about physical borders changing?
Yeah.
Well, the Schengen zone is expanding.
Oh, that's great news. Which countries?
Bulgaria and Romania are joining the party, officially on January 1st, 2025.
Wow, that's a big deal. What does that mean for travel?
No more border checks between them and the other Schengen countries. Imagine you're on a road trip, driving from Hungary straight into Romania. No stopping, no hassle.
Wow, that's seamless travel. And not just driving, right? Exactly. Think trains, buses, all these new routes connecting them with the rest of the Schengen area.
I can already see the multi-country itineraries. Right. Combine the Austrian Alps with, say, Romania's Transylvania. The possibilities are endless.
This is exciting stuff. But gotta ask, are there any downsides to all this?
Downsides.
Yeah, like, will my European adventures cost me more in 2025?
Oh, that's the million-dollar question. Let's talk tourist taxes.
Oh.
They're evolving. It's something travelers often overlook, but across Europe, cities are trying to manage over-tourism.
Makes sense. Too many tourists can be a problem.
Exactly. And tourist taxes are becoming a key tool. They're using the money for local infrastructure, improving services and stuff.
Okay, so it's not just about making money.
No, it's about finding a balance. Tourism has to work for the city and its residents, too.
I get it. So any examples?
Oh, tons. Venice is a big one. They're introducing dynamic pricing for day trippers starting in April. So during peak season, Visiting for the day could cost you €10.
Whoa, €10 just to walk around. That's a chunk of change.
It is. But Venice is popular, and they need to find ways to manage the crowds. And it's not just Venice, by the way. Greece is also increasing its nationwide daily tourist tax.
How much are we talking?
It's going from like 50 cents to €2. And during high season, it'll hit €8 a day.
Yikes. Okay, that's definitely something to consider when budgeting.
Hmm.
Any other examples of tourist taxes changing?
Definitely. Like Madeira in Portugal, famous for its amazing hiking trails, right?
Yeah, beautiful place.
Well, now there's a €3 access fee.
Really?
Yeah. But they're using the money specifically to maintain the trails, keeping them safe and beautiful.
So I guess it's an investment in preserving what makes Madeira so special.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance between tourism and sustainability.
I see it's a trend.
It is. And it's not just Europe, by the way. Lots of popular destinations worldwide are doing similar things.
That's like a global awareness of responsible tourism.
Exactly. So bottom line, do your research. Check the tourist tax situation before you go. You don't want any surprises.
Good point. Now, besides taxes, any other costs we should be aware of? What about those golden visa programs?
Ah, the golden visas. Yeah, things are changing there, too, especially in Greece and Spain.
Oh, really? In what way?
Well, Greece is launching a new startup pathway.
Startup pathway, what's that?
It's an alternative to the traditional property-based golden visa. Instead of buying a villa, you can invest €250,000 in an approved Greek startup.
Interesting. So it's less about real estate and more about...
Innovation and job creation. Exactly. They want to attract entrepreneurs, boost the economy. You have to create at least 2 jobs in the first year and keep them going for 5 years.
A different approach.
Definitely. And Spain, well, they wanted to end their property-based golden visas, but those plans are kind of on hold right now.
So it's a bit uncertain.
It is. Anyone looking at golden visas needs to do their homework, stay updated. Things are changing quickly.
Makes sense. Okay, golden visas are a moving target. Anything else brewing in Europe that could affect travelers?
Oh, yeah. France is making some interesting changes. They're upping the language requirements for long-term residence permits.
Oh, trying to keep us Anglophones out.
Not exactly. It's more about integration. If you want to live there long-term, you got to speak the lingo, right?
So just knowing bonjour won't cut it anymore?
Probably not. For multi-year permits, you'll need A2 level French. For 10-year permits, B1 level.
Makes sense, though.
It's not just about visiting, it's about being part of the community.
I see. So Europe's raising the bar in 2025, not just for entering, but for staying, too.
Exactly. It's part of a bigger trend towards what they call smart tourism.
Smart tourism, huh? What exactly does that mean?
Well, it's about using technology to make travel better, but also about being more responsible, sustainable travel practices and all that.
Right, we talked about that a bit.
It's all connected. Digital borders, managing crowds, sustainable transport.
So it's a more mindful approach. Technology helps, but so does individual responsibility.
You got it.
Right.
And guess what? There's even more. We haven't even talked about city-specific rules.
Oh, I bet that's where it gets complicated.
You're not wrong. But we've covered a lot already. Let's take a quick break, and we'll dive into those city-specific changes when we come back.
Sounds like a plan. Welcome back to our deep dive. Before the break, we were talking about how European cities are getting serious about managing tourism.
Right, and making it smarter and more sustainable, too.
Exactly. And we were just about to get into those city-specific rules. Remember, things can get a little tricky for travelers who aren't in the loop.
So let's get into it. What kind of changes are we talking about?
We already touched on tourist taxes.
Yeah, those extra fees added to your hotel bill, right?
Right. It's not just Venice and Greece doing it. Lots of popular spots are either adding them or raising the existing ones.
So it's another thing to factor into your budget, for sure. Are there any other examples of these rules?
Yeah, definitely. Keep an eye out for these things called low-emission zones, or LEZs for short.
LEZs, what are those?
Basically, they restrict access to vehicles that pollute too much.
Ah, so if my car doesn't meet the emission standards...
You could get slapped with a hefty fine.
Ouch. So if I'm planning a road trip...
Do your research. Every city has its own rules.
Okay, so tourist taxes and LEZs. Got it. Anything else?
Oh yeah, one more big one. Pre-booking for attractions.
Wait, so no more spontaneity? Like, I can't just show up and hope for the best?
Well, maybe for some smaller things, but for those big popular attractions, pre-booking is becoming the norm.
Why is that?
Crowd control. Cities are trying to manage the flow of tourists, create a better experience for everyone. Imagine you plan this amazing trip to Rome. You're finally there, standing in front of the Colosseum.
And you can't get in because you didn't pre-book.
Exactly.
Heartbreak.
Okay, point taken. So check the ticketing policies before you go.
Definitely. Most places have online booking these days. It's super easy. Just takes a bit of planning.
Good to know.
Yeah.
So we've got taxes, mission zones, pre-booking. Anything else? Well, let's move on to something a bit more fun. How about travel infrastructure improvements?
Now that's something I can get excited about. What's new?
Europe's already got amazing transportation, but it's getting even better. High-speed rail, for example, they're expanding the network.
More high-speed trains. Yes, please.
Faster connections between cities.
Mm-hmm.
And they're so comfortable,
Yeah.
Smooth rides, spacious seats.
It's the best way to travel. And what about for those of us who prefer hitting the open road?
Well, say goodbye to those annoying toll booths.
Really? Are they getting rid of them?
Pretty much. Most EU countries are going fully digital. You'll need a digital tag or a toll app.
Okay, I can handle that. Sounds a lot easier than fumbling for cash every time.
Exactly. And it can actually work out cheaper, too.
Sweet. Okay, any other travel hacks or tips?
Well, for train travel, there's this fantastic thing called the Interrail Flex Pass. Have you heard of it?
Interrail Flex Pass. No, but it sounds intriguing.
It's amazing. Basically, you choose how many travel days you want within a certain time period. Hop on and off trains, explore multiple countries.
At your own pace.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect for adventurous types who don't want to be tied to a rigid schedule.
I love it. It's giving me wanderlust already. So we've got high-speed rail expansion, digital tolls, flexible rail passes. It sounds like getting around Europe is going to be a breeze.
Absolutely. And on top of that, the EU is really serious about passenger rights.
Oh, that's good to hear. What kind of things are they doing?
They've made the refund and compensation processes even clearer, especially for flight delays and train cancellations.
So if my flight gets delayed or my train's canceled,
You know exactly what you're entitled to. No more getting lost in the fine print.
that's a relief.
It takes some of the stress out of travel, right? You're protected.
Exactly. And speaking of protection, what about travel insurance?
Oh, that's more important than ever.
You think so?
Definitely. With all these changes happening, it's peace of mind.
Peace of mind in a policy, huh?
Exactly. You're covered for medical emergencies, lost luggage, trip cancellations, even those pesky flight delays.
Okay, you've convinced me. Travel insurance is a must.
Absolutely. It's all about managing risks and making sure your trip is smooth sailing.
Good advice. So we've covered city-specific rules, transportation updates, the importance of travel insurance. Anything else we need to know before we wrap things up?
Well, I think there's one more thing to consider. It's not really a rule or anything, but it's about the bigger picture.
Okay, I'm listening. What is it?
Europe is changing, and all these changes we've been talking about, they reflect a shift in how Europe is approaching travel.
Interesting. What do you mean?
Well, it's not just about checking things off a list anymore. It's about traveling more responsibly.
Responsibly.
Yeah. Engaging with the places you visit, respecting local cultures, minimizing your impact on the environment.
I like that.
It's about slowing down, savoring the journey, not just rushing from one landmark to the next.
So it's a more mindful, meaningful way to travel.
Exactly. It's not just about the destination. It's about the experience as a whole.
I love that. And maybe, just maybe, this new approach will lead to even more incredible discoveries.
Absolutely. When we travel with intention, we open ourselves up to all sorts of possibilities.
Well said. So for all you travelers out there dreaming of Europe, remember to stay informed, be adaptable, and embrace all the exciting changes coming your way.
I'm already planning my next trip.
Me too. And we'll be back in a moment with one final thought to leave you pondering. Stay tuned. Welcome back. So as we wrap up our look at European travel in 2025, I'm kind of curious about something.
Oh, yeah. What's
We've talked about all these practical changes, right?
Right, the digital borders, tourist taxes.
Yeah, all those sustainable travel initiatives. But what does it all really mean for the future of travel? Like in Europe, but maybe even beyond?
That's a good question. I think what's interesting is all these changes, they're not just random things happening. They're all connected. Like they're pointing toward a bigger shift in how we think about travel.
So it's not just about like getting from point A to point B anymore.
Exactly. It's deeper than that. We're entering a whole new era of travel.
A new era.
One where technology is more important, sustainability is key, and travelers are just more aware.
More aware of.
Their impact on the places they visit, their footprint.
It's almost like travel is becoming more intentional.
I think that's a great way to put it. It's not just about checking things off a list. It's about slowing down, engaging with local cultures, really savoring the whole experience.
And maybe, just maybe, all these changes will lead to even better travel experiences, more discoveries.
I think so too. When we travel with intention, we open ourselves up to new possibilities. You never know what you might find.
Well said. So to all our listeners out there dreaming of Europe, remember, stay informed, be adaptable, and embrace the change.
Happy travels, everyone.